Let's do this. Okay, so I have my little notes here on my original iPad mini that has been dead for probably the last few years, and pretty much the only thing that works on it now is the Notes app, so we're going to use it for this podcast. Hi, my name is Erica Renee, and welcome to the first episode of A Little Bit Unglamorous. And I am so excited because I have been thinking about doing a podcast now for a while, and I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I kind of was mulling over the idea, and I wanted to make sure that I had everything perfect before I launched it. And then I was brainstorming names for ideas, and I thought my brand is my brand is Young, Broke, and Glamorous, and I figured A Little Bit Unglamorous for the podcast is the perfect name. And then I realized the whole premise of that name in the podcast is life isn't perfect, and you just got to go with it, and you got to start, because if you don't start, you're never going to get anywhere. So here we are, first life lesson for you: just do it. And that's going to segue into kind of my thought process on what you can expect here. I'm going to talk a little bit about quarantine and kind of how that helped me a little bit to get out there, and then some fun stuff. I love celebrity gossip. I've been taking my notes for the past week or so, and I realized all of these celebrity gossip that I wanted to talk about is aging quickly. So I was like, I need to get the ball rolling. I need to get going. The goal is to have an hour-length podcast. We'll see if I can do that. I do love to talk. I feel like it would be easier with a co-host, but my schedule is just so chaotic, and getting someone else in here, it just made sense to do this solo. So here we are. You have me, and buckle up, get ready. We're gonna figure out this together. And I'm trying to time myself while I do this so I can kind of see how long my segments are. I have so many notes. If you're watching the visual version, I am also filming this. It's going to have a separate YouTube channel that I plan to upload all of the videos and episodes to, as well as be on streaming platforms to listen to. My favorite way of listening to podcasts is personally the audio. Even some of my favorite podcasts, I'll go back and I'll watch the visual version all over again just so I can experience seeing it as well. But I love being on the go, and if I have a long commute somewhere, or even if I get off of work and have a nice hot shower, I like to listen to podcasts. And the premise of this one, I really wanted a coffee talk podcast, but I kind of want to talk about life lessons along the way, hence the name A Little Bit Unglamorous. So we're going to get real here. We're going to talk about some life lessons, funny stories, really anything that is on my mind that week. And then we're going to sprinkle in a little celebrity gossip because I love that, and I feel like spilling all of the tea to my boyfriend is not as appreciated. So we're going to tell it all to you, and I'll save myself time so both my boyfriend and my mom can just watch or listen to this podcast, and they can be up to date with all of the celebrity stuff that I feel like talking about. And as well as kind of like a digital diary, so to speak. And maybe if I get some traction, I would love to do an advice column. I don't know why Carrie Bradshaw comes to mind with her advice column in Sex and the City, but if people actually listened and wanted to write in, I would love to respond to any sort of questions, but that's down the road. So today I'm going to kind of lay out what you can expect here from me. And so I wanted to talk about a little bit how Young, Broke, and Glamorous kind of came to fruition. And it was an idea that I had during quarantine, and I just kind of ran with it. I really wanted to have a separate outlet for just makeup and fashion and beauty. and all that fun stuff. I mean, when you start posting on the internet, it's kind of weird. All of the people who follow you and you follow back are people you know in real life, maybe from high school, college, even work. So it kind of felt weird to be posting and talking about makeup. Just talking to a camera for the first time is honestly kind of jarring, but it's funny because the more you do it, the easier it gets. So I created an Instagram, and surprisingly the handle Young, Broke, and Glamorous was free. I have like a whole brainstorm of ideas of names I wanted, and when that one hit, that's the one. I loved the name. I snagged the domain name, and the name was pretty much free. So Young, Broke, and Glamorous was born. I started posting mostly beauty content on Instagram. And then one day, I want to say maybe a year later, I just decided, you know what? I've had my personal Instagram at the time since 2012 when Instagram became big. Back when we just used to take these like filtered photos of our food and it got 2 likes. And I thought to myself, you know what? Not everything needs to live on the internet forever. I don't think the food that I posted in 2012 needs to live on the internet forever. I get these tendencies where I am just a perfectionist, so I'd go back through and delete things, and I wanted to have the most beautiful, perfect curated Instagram, like you see all of the Instagram influencers with the most perfect feed, and I wanted that, and spent so much time on it. And then I just realized, you know what? I just want one account, a fresh start. I don't want to have to worry about whatever was posted in the past. Like, I want to start over. And it's never too late to start over. You know, if you're ever feeling like you're in a rut or you aren't happy with where you're at, one thing I really learned in 2020 is change it. And I know for me, that was a really hard, it's a hard thing to, it's easy to say and hard to implement, right? You're thinking to yourself, okay, that's so easy. How am I supposed to just get a new job or move across the country? Maybe you're in a relationship or a friendship that you're not happy with, and you really can just do it. During quarantine, I had been at a job for 7 years. I had been in like a situationship that was stagnant and just wasting my time, basically. And I just wanted to change. So I quit my job, found a new one. I moved. I did so much at once, and it really kind of opened my eyes to, you can really create the life that you want if you just put yourself out there and do it. And it's so easy to stay in a rut. It's so easy to stay in something that you're comfortable with. Trust me, I'm the queen of being comfortable, and I love routine. I love stability, like most people. I don't know if you're an astrology person. I'm a Taurus. I'm not huge on astrology, but we're stubborn. We like stability. We like the nicer things in life. So for me, it was a really out of character, hard thing to do. And you know what? Some things panned out for the better and some things didn't. But at the same time, I am so much happier now. So, I really implore you, if you're wanting to start something, anything, if you want to do a podcast, if you want to talk about makeup, do YouTube, just do it. Who cares what people think? And I hated the idea of people making fun of me. And nobody likes the thought of being made fun of, right? Especially for something that they love. Like if you're putting something out there that makes you happy and excited, like making these videos, are a lot of work. I mean, once I started making them, I realized, oh my gosh, like I have a newfound respect for YouTubers, because people always say like, oh, your job is so easy. All you had to do is just film a little video. I mean, the filming, you have to actually think about the content. I mean, unless you're really gifted, you can just get on camera and just go with it, which I'm sure some videos come that easy, but you have to plan ahead. The post-production can be a nightmare, the editing, and there's so many things that can go wrong. So it's definitely not as easy as it looks on the outside looking in. So I have a newfound respect for that, but in the nature of just going with it, we're going to start the podcast because I have been thinking about this forever, writing down notes for it, and time is going by, and I'm thinking to myself, all of these ideas that I have written down are going to become irrelevant if I just don't start. So the goal is to do an hour-long podcast once a week. Wednesday uploads. We have our own Instagram account at A Little Bit Unglamorous, and we will have our own YouTube channel with the same name. So if you are interested in listening to me talk for an hour every week, it should be a good time. Give me a follow. I always appreciate all the support. All my friends in my personal life tell me how much that they love watching my videos, and it just means so much to me because my following is my mom, my boyfriend, and a couple of my really good friends. So I really appreciate the comments that I get from people. It makes me feel that much more motivated. So why the name A Little Bit Unglamorous? So life is not always glamorous, the long story short. And, in making YouTube videos, as I said before, I always want everything to be perfectly curated. And the idea behind this is I want as little editing as possible. I want it to be real. I want it to be raw. I'm going to talk about things in my life and talk about opinions on things. But it's all supposed to be fun and lighthearted, so, nothing's going to be too serious here. That's kind of the idea behind the whole presence that I like to have online, is I like it to be an outlet for people to come and unwind, maybe have a good laugh, enjoy some makeup. So we're going to get into it, and I hope this first episode does not disappoint and makes you want to come back and listen for more. So I want to talk a little bit about my last week that I had. So I spent the last week in Arizona, which was a nice change. I'm from the San Diego area, and as some of the San Diego natives know, it's been really rainy lately for about 2 weeks. I heard, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I heard that San Diego this year, or California this year, got more rain than Seattle. I don't know how accurate that is, but I heard that and I almost believe it. It was raining so crazy. I even bought an umbrella. And of course, the second I bought my umbrella, the rain stopped. The weather is gorgeous now. It's nice and sunny out. I have a window right in front of me. It's beautiful. So I went to Arizona, and it was like 100 degrees there, and I'm used to the heat. I grew up in a desert, so I personally really like it. But I thought it was really funny because Arizona does not mess with their air conditioning. They keep the air conditioning bumping, okay? My boyfriend would be like, oh my gosh, it's so hot today. I'm like, oh, really? Because I've been inside all day wearing a sweater. Everywhere I'd go, I'd bring a sweater with me because the AC would be so cold. And I'm sure I looked ridiculous. I was the only person walking around with a sweater. But while we were there, they had a fair. And here the fair is like such a huge production, and in Yuma it's quite a bit smaller, but it was a lot of fun. It was like $7 admission, which if you're from San Diego, I don't think anything is $7 here. Maybe like close to gas, $7 a gallon. So it was in Arizona, and it was so fun. Honestly, I love just being able to pick up and go anywhere. And even if it's a place that, isn't your typical travel destination, it kind of feels a little bit like a vacation. I always tell myself, like, even with work, I try to trick my brain into thinking, wow, this is a lot of fun. This is so much fun. Not that my trip wasn't fun, but for example, having to go to work, telling yourself like, wow, this is so much fun. I have a pink calculator for my work, and I'm like, yeah, it just tricks my brain into thinking that this is so much fun, and then suddenly I just believe it. And that's also so true in life. Like, people ask, how do you have the confidence to wear that? How do you have the confidence to do A, B, or C? And really, if you fake it till you make it, that is completely true, because you will believe it. If you tell yourself enough times, if you look at yourself in the mirror every day and tell yourself, you are beautiful, you are going to succeed, positive things, you're going to believe it. If you are constantly looking for the negative in things, guess what? You're going to find it. But I wanted to segue into my first pop culture topic. It does have to do with my last week while I was in Arizona. So if you didn't know, if you're watching the visual version, I am a huge Taylor Swift fan. I'm wearing some of her merch today. It's one of the gray crew necks with her Eras Tour poster on the front, and I just got a whole bunch of Taylor Swift merch in the mail that I ordered probably 3 months ago. We're gonna have a talk about, should just be a Taylor Swift podcast. I have so much to say. But so while I was in Arizona, I was doing research on or before Arizona actually, I was doing research on Record Store Day, because Taylor Swift is releasing a limited edition vinyl for Record Store Day. And if you're not familiar with what Record Store Day is, and I was not either, it is a day, and I believe it's internationally, and it's meant to promote small record stores. And in the spirit of Record Store Day, they offer limited edition presses of certain albums. So whatever, say, artist decides to participate in it, they might have a finite number of copies they decide to release, and collectors and fans will line up at the stores to try to get this record, and they do not sell them online. If there happens to be leftover inventory the next day, they do list it online. However, there's such a high demand for this Taylor Swift vinyl that there was none left over. I called many stores. A lot of the record stores I wanted to go to opened around noon. So I was like, okay, that's good. I won't have to do anything chaotic like waking up at 3 a.m, which I heard a lot of fans wanted to do. And I am just not that person. I don't know I don't know anything that would bring me to wake up that early. So I was like, oh, perfect. And I'm not going to lie, I don't know, for whatever reason, I even had this in my calendar on my phone, and I guess I mixed up the dates, so I didn't realize Saturday was Record Store Day. I was supposed to be back in San Diego, and I was going to try to hit a couple of record stores here. But I ended up still being in Arizona, and there was one record store closest to me, and originally I was going to ask my boyfriend to try to go to that store, and then I was going to try to hit a few in San Diego, and hopefully we would be able to get a vinyl. And my delusional self even thought, oh, you know what? We're going to have such a good shot. I could probably even get 2 copies and sell one to a Swiftie that didn't have the chance to get it. And in my mind, I thought I was going to get it, and I, spoiler alert, did not. So I roll up to Record Store Day at this very small local record store. I think it was called Blue Bug Records. It's in Yuma. It's only about a year old, very small, tiny place. And I get a parking spot right out front. I don't see a line. It's 30 minutes before the store opens at noon, and I was amped. I even sat in my car for a bit, had my coffee, and I was like, oh, I don't need to get out and go, in line right away. There's none. I bet I'm definitely going to get a copy. Like, it's such a small town. There's not as many people here. The odds are in my favor, okay? The odds are in my favor. So I get out and, I get to the door. It's not open yet. And there are a few people there. There are 3 girls in line and then like a couple of other people. I guess they had records outside the store, other records that were not the limited edition ones. And immediately they look like they're there for the Taylor Swift album. Like, are you here for the Taylor Swift vinyl? And they're like, yeah. And we were talking about Taylor Swift, and it was awesome. Honestly, I got a friendship bracelet from one of the girls who was first in line. The girl who was there first got there at 3 a.m. And the girl who was second in line was there at 8 a.m. And the girl who was third in line got there at 10 a.m. So, and they were all pretty young. I think 2 of them were in school age. And then as I'm in line and we're talking for about a half an hour, a line starts forming behind me. I'm going to say, it wasn't a huge, I know in the bigger cities, it was absolutely outrageous. But I would say there was a good 35 people behind me after I had shown up. And granted, not everybody is there for the same vinyl. So they opened the store at noon. And the way that this store did it was, they opened the doors and they announced, sorry if we let anybody down about Taylor Swift, but we only have 2 copies. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm fourth in line, so I'm not not getting this album. And then the way that they were handing out the albums was the girl who was first in line, they gave it to her. And they decided to they decided to hide the second one in the store somewhere amongst all the other albums for us to try and find. And they only let in us 4. I think one girl and her mom were there too. So 5 of us into the store because it was so small. So I got into the store with the, first queue of people. But in my mind, I'm like, well, if I find this album, there's no way that I'm going to take it from this girl who's been here since 8 a.m. So I told her, I was like, well, I'll come and I'll stay and I'll help look. And if I find it, I'll give it to you. At that point, I had admitted defeat. I didn't try hard enough to warrant deserving an album over somebody that had been there since 3 a.m, 8 a.m. We're looking for this album, can't find it anywhere. We're sifting through all of the racks of albums trying to find this thing. And I don't know if you've seen the cover of the vinyl, but it was like black and gray, so it's like not even a bright color. Anyway, the girl who was second in line, she was so sweet. She ended up finding it, and that was that. I ended up leaving, and I called a few places in San Diego to see if, by some chance they might have any extra, and they're like, oh no. Oh no, Taylor Swift is long gone. So, and then, this morning, the after stock. So it doesn't look like it's happening for me for the Long Pond Studio Sessions vinyl of Taylor Swift's. But I did have a really good time. I met some diehard Swifties, and honestly, this fandom has been one of the nicest fandoms. I love following all the Taylor Swift fans on Instagram and TikTok, and I love listening to the fan theories, and I follow even a Reddit thread. Like, I'm really into it. I am deep. Like, I don't know when I became a super fan, but it was somewhere along the lines during COVID when she released the Folklore cardigan, and I thought to myself, oh, I need some merch from Taylor Swift. And little did I know it was a slippery slope. And now I kind of collect the vinyls, so I need to open up my repertoire from Taylor Swift to other vinyls. So if you have any suggestions, let me know, because right now I just have her entire collection in vinyl. I don't really get physical copies of anything else, but I do have a record player, so I do listen to them. It's not just for the sake of collecting. I do find it fun and relaxing to turn on a record every now and then. I just think it is so much character. And it's kind of funny because when I told my parents originally that I wanted to get a record player and get some records, my dad goes, why? Because back in the day he had a turntable and all of the discs, and he got rid of those long ago. So there's nothing left for me now. But, in his mind, technology has come so far. Why would you? Why? I'm like, 'cause it's cool, Dad. But anyways, that's my Taylor Swift story. First ever record store day. The year before, I think she also released I think it was like a Long Pond studio sessions of just one song. So people stood in line for this even more limited copy of one song. At least this year it was I'm pretty sure it was an entire album she filmed for Disney Plus and recorded in like a special studio, so it sounds like slightly more stripped down than the original production, which is kind of the appeal of it that people wanted. And it is on Spotify. Like one of my girlfriends, because I was posting about it on Instagram the other day, one of my girlfriends was like, wait, I don't understand, so I can't listen to this album if I don't buy it physically at the store? You can listen to it. It's on Spotify if you look it up. I think the idea of record store day is just to promote the physical copies and, bring business to these small record stores that normally don't get a lot of foot traffic. I follow a vinyl Reddit now as well, and I saw somebody post something saying the record store that he went to, the owner actually walked out and asked everybody in line, like, hey, can I take your picture? I've never had a line outside my store before. So the spirit of Record Store Day does work, and these small businesses really do appreciate our business. So even though I didn't get a record, it was a fun experience. Directly from that, I got in my car and I drove 3 hours back to San Diego. So I was really tired when I got back, but some of my girlfriends wanted to go to dinner. So of course I had to do that. It was a Saturday night. I mean, don't get me wrong, your girl loves some sleep. I love some sleep. But I rallied. I'm proud of myself. We went to a bomb Mexican place. It's called La Puerta. And there's quite a few locations in San Diego, but we went to the Hillcrest location, and I think it's fairly new, but it was really nice, and the food was good. And had a few drinks, came home, got cozy in bed, and I woke up bright and early this morning, and I am not that kind of person that wakes up and can't sleep. I can always sleep, okay? But for some reason this morning I couldn't, so I got up, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have a substantial morning. I wasn't productive whatsoever, and I can say that this weekend has been nice and chill and refreshing, and I don't regret it at all. But we are getting this podcast started, so I can say that's one thing that I did productive this weekend that I'm really excited about. So we should just name this entire first episode, episode 1 of A Little Bit Unglamorous and Taylor Swift, because I got more to talk about, because I am going to my first Taylor Swift concert in August in LA. It's like one of the last dates. And I didn't realize at the time when I got tickets that I won the lottery, because these tickets are so freaking coveted, so much so that Ticketmaster is in a lawsuit for how they handled the entire situation. Fans were supposed to get boosts in line if they had tickets for her prior concert that was canceled due to COVID. It was called Loverfest. That was canceled. I guess if you bought merch, you were supposed to get a boost in line, and then you were supposed to get an early access email as well if you were this quote-unquote verified fan. I was lucky enough to get a pre-sale code, but I heard of so many people that were die-hard fans. Like, these are people that dedicate like Instagram accounts to Taylor Swift, see every single concert she's been to, buy all of her merch, and they didn't get pre-sale codes. And then I heard of people just making accounts and their dad got a pre-sale code. So story of that is the pre-sale verified fan thing, that wasn't a thing. But I was lucky enough to get some nosebleeds at SoFi for my absolute maximum price I was willing to pay. And I am very excited. They are nosebleed. They're literally as far back as you can get, but it's in front of the stadium. So I'm really excited. And I was going to be one of those people that forced my boyfriend to go, but ended up not working out that he can go. So I'm taking my mom, and I figured it would be a really fun experience for the both of us. I've already prepped her on, you have to learn Taylor Swift songs, and we gotta get a cute outfit to wear, and we both have little matching. There's the small see-through purses because the stadium won't allow anything larger than like basically a clutch. And I found these really cute bags on Amazon with little stars on them. So we both have matching ones. So it'll be a good time. I'm so excited. However, I've heard so much chaos about the concert, specifically the merch. Let's talk about the merch for a second, please. What's going on? People are lining up hours. I think even at one point the night before, camping out for slightly different looking merch than what I'm wearing now. Very slightly. They don't list it on her website, but they have it just different enough that people want it. And personally, I've never been to one of her concerts. Half of the fun of going to the concert is getting some merch from the artists that you want to see, you know? It's part of the experience. And standing in a line for hours and hours and hours only to have everything sold out because they allowed scalpers to come in and take suitcases, legitimate suitcases, cart off trophies of these like coveted blue crew necks that everybody's going crazy about, and upselling them on eBay for $200 plus a pop. That is obscene. The fact that they did not have a limit to the quantities you could buy at the first few venues is absolutely crazy to me. And then the second thing that's crazy to me is not only is the merch line out of control, everything sold out, wasn't being regulated. People were saying that the quality was not good, that the shirts were pressed incorrectly, so the first time they washed them, they were being ruined. And I don't know about you, but if I'm paying $70 for a hoodie, which is overpriced, but yeah, I'm gonna buy it because I love having some official merch. It's part of the experience, but you know, it's being pricey, fading in the wash, waiting 5 hours for it, like those three things, like that's ruining your experience for a concert that you paid, I'm gonna say, yeah, at least minimum $1,000 to go to. People are traveling, people are getting hotel fares. I can understand why people are mad. So I hope they fix that by the time that I go to my concert, because it's just not acceptable. I was listening to another YouTuber that went to, I think it was a Glendale show. Everybody was really excited for opening night. And after seeing the hype of opening night and how excited people were to find out what the set list was, I realized, okay, I get it. She made a whole YouTube video what she thought about the experience and the merch, and you know, her solution is a good one. She said, put the merch online. And I don't know why it's not online. Like, I get this whole thing about, exclusivity, like limited quantities, but Taylor is such a big artist that I feel like she can't really do that. It's not fair to her fans. She is at the height of her career right now. Everybody wants to go to this concert. And funny enough, her last, I think, 2 of her concerts she had in San Diego, and I regret not going now. I was not one of those people that ever spent money on things like going to concerts. I'm more of like a tangible person. And I know, like, you should spend your money on experiences and memories. And I love doing that too. But what is the quote that says, I get it, spend your money on experiences, but what are we wearing to those experiences? That's me. Okay. One more thing about Taylor Swift and then we'll move on. I know they have a bunch of fan-made merch as well. And personally, I know it's ridiculous, but I love the official merch. I just love repping the official merch. But I did find one really cute crew neck handmade by these 2 boys in Florida. And I believe their website is called Orange State. I believe that's what it's called. It was so freaking cute. And I am so excited to get that at there. It was unique. It was arguably better than the official merch, which I feel like it's not that hard to do, to be honest. But moving on into some pop culture. Hailey Bieber versus Selena Gomez. This is the never-ending saga of the Selenators versus Hailey Bieber, and everybody just hated this poor girl for marrying a boy. And, honestly, like, I can feel for Hailey. I cannot imagine marrying somebody and the world not letting you forget that they liked his other relationship better. Like, that's really savage. And for her to not have ever said anything, I mean, she did come out basically saying, leave me alone. A few years later, it's been like, what, 2.5 years? How long have they been married now? Like, leave her alone. Like, they're bullying her, sending her death threat, like tagging Selena in her posts. Like, come on. Like, also the same thing with Taylor Swift, like her and the whole breakup rumors and stuff. It's like, okay, like, let her move on. If you wanna keep bringing it up, guess what? You're hurting the person that you claim to stand by as well. But I do have some thoughts, and these are those. So people were recently coming for Hailey Bieber because she was posting TikToks that people attributed to bullying Selena online. Do we know this for fact? No. But that's the way it was spun. Will we ever really know if that was the intention? No. But people were coming for her, and there was so much drama around it that she actually had to message Selena Gomez to ask her fans to get off her back. And she did. Selena Gomez posted on her Instagram saying, I don't condone this. I don't believe bullying in any capacity. This is not what I stand for. And on one hand, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, good for her. Like, Hailey Bieber should not be being bullied. Like, bury the hatchet. This is old news. Like, everybody's moved on. Everybody's happy. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous at this point. And then I saw something on TikTok that made me laugh. Some girl was saying, she posted a TikTok that said, you best believe, even if I was depressed, crying every night, going to sleep on the verge of divorce, I would never let my man's ex know that I was hurting. And I felt that. I don't think any of us would ever want to reach out to our significant other's ex in any capacity ever. And it's not normal to be on speaking terms with them. So for, them to be in these interviews and ask about one another, that's just like odd to me. Do you speak to your exes? I'm pretty sure not. But that made me laugh. Also, I did hear that apparently Justin Bieber still has a tattoo of Selena Gomez on his arm. And that's a hell no for me. That's an absolute, that would have been lasered off yesterday status. It's fact, the photos are out there, and it is Selena Gomez on his wrist or arm or whatever. the disrespect. That's all I have to say. Who's the real villain here? I'll let you answer that one. Moving on. What else do we got? Shakira checking. I'm losing my voice. I'm stumbling over my words. That's not good for a podcast. Shakira catches her man cheating by the jar of jelly in her fridge. And this story makes me laugh and makes me horrified at the same time. The power of women. Shakira had an inkling that something was up. She was like, you know what? Something is not right. What's my man doing? I don't know. Finds out he's cheating because the jar of jelly keeps getting lower and lower, and she's the only one that eats that jelly. Has she been eating it? No, she has not. And that's how she found out he was cheating. And that's respect. Another thing in the news lately, Gwyneth Paltrow's trial. I feel like it was the trial that we all needed, like the lighthearted trial, because it was so ridiculous. So if you hadn't been following, Gwyneth Paltrow was recently in court for a ski incident that happened years ago. I guess she was somewhere skiing with her family. I think it was Mammoth. And some guy, I believe he is a doctor or was a doctor, skis directly into her, runs into her. I've never been skiing, but I was talking to my mom about it, and she said, you know, it's not uncommon to like accidentally run into people, which makes sense. And years later, or after finding out who she was, decides to sue her for like millions. I think he dropped it down to like 500,000 and then 100,000 or something like that. But he was basically trying to get some coin because he found out Gwyneth Paltrow had some money and hopefully she would pay him off. Anyway, so Gwyneth was like, hell no, I'm going to show up to court and I'm going to countersue you for $1. And that's a reference to Taylor Swift when she had her sexual harassment lawsuit. Out of principle, she didn't want money, but she countersued for $1 just so she could win. And so Gwyneth Paltrow did the same thing, and she did end up winning the lawsuit. And she showed up, and the funny thing is she showed up every day just looking like a queen, dressed up gorgeous. You know, Gwyneth Paltrow has $1 million empire with her Goop overpriced. Is it a magazine or is it a blog? But she has like a lifestyle blog where she recommends stuff, but it'll be like, here's this $500 ashtray that I recommend everybody have for their home. It's a beautiful catch-all. You should buy it. Here's a link. Like Gwyneth Paltrow, like just being on this complete other planet than everybody else in this world. I live to see it and I love it. It's hilarious. But so she shows up, and mind you, Gwyneth Paltrow, like I said, is a millionaire. She is wasting money. She's probably losing money by showing up to court every day. So she was like, you know what? Out of principle, you are in the wrong. I'm going to show up, which is really a telltale of she's got to be telling the truth. She really believes she's right. Why would she waste all her time and have it all in the media, you know? But she ended up winning the trial, and on her way out, she whispers to the guy, I wish you well, and then leaves. And that's just like the ultimate like mic drop. I didn't follow it too much, but I did see the clips, and I thought that was pretty funny. And go Gwyneth. I mean, she's been under fire for quite a while now for just, you know, being on another planet, like I said, and just everything that she says is just so outrageous. But I thought that was a pop culture history moment that was so entertaining and a little bit more lighthearted than the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial that just went on, because that was just on another level. Another child star that I love and has been in the news lately is Amanda Bynes, and she has been very publicly struggling with her mental health, which is really sad because she was always, you know, the quote unquote like cookie cutter child star that people expected to make it out of this machine, that now they're coming out and saying like how awful it was, and people were addicted to drugs and just had a slew of problems after, being a child star. And she very publicly was struggling with bipolar disorder a few years ago, and people were talking about Britney Spears' conservatorship in the news. It was a huge movement, the Free Britney movement, but Amanda Bynes is also actually in a conservatorship as well. And anyway, a few weeks ago, I guess she relapsed, and the thing that it rubbed me the wrong way, really grinded my gears, so to speak, is so Amanda was found roaming the streets of LA in like a not very safe area, with no clothing on, and she herself realized she was having a psychotic episode and called the police to help her. Called them and said, hey, please come and help me. I'm coming down from an episode. And for her to have the self-awareness to realize that is really impressive. But the media spun it as Amanda Bynes found wandering and she was committed to a hold, which is not exactly true. She called the police on herself because she realized she needed help, which is just so messed up. And I still love Amanda Bynes, but it's like so hard to watch her publicly struggle like that, and I really wish her well. I hope she has the best comeback. I would love to see her comeback story. I know I think she graduated FITM, and last I heard she wanted to do nails, so she was studying to be a nail tech. Honestly, Amanda can do whatever the hell she wants. She doesn't need to work again a day in her life if she doesn't want to, because she worked so hard as a kid. And I just have a soft spot in my heart for her, so I hope she has the most amazing comeback of all time. Same with Britney. I cannot wait for Britney's memoir. Did you hear that? She just claimed she finished her memoir. You best believe I am going to buy that immediately, and I hope she narrates it because I want to hear that in her voice. I am not sure when it comes out, but the second it does, I'm immediately buying it. And then 2000s trends that are coming back in style. I want to talk about the collab that Alex Earl had with Juicy Couture recently with Forever 21. And if you are not familiar with Alex Earl, she is the hot TikTok star of the moment, and she is really cute. She's just like this cute blonde girl she's currently in college, and people love her because she just posts her daily life of what it's like to be in college, and it kind of reminds me of those days as well. And it's just so funny because now things like going to Coachella and spring break, drinking like 3 days back to back, a week in a row, that sounds awful to me to be quite honest, but she has really taken off on TikTok because people resonate with how real she is. And I heard she's also really nice in person too, which is really refreshing. But so she got a brand deal with Forever 21, and they decided to do a collab with Juicy Couture. So they had tracksuits, they had t-shirts, they had trucker hats, and the 2000s in me was so excited. I needed all of that. They had 2 drops, so they had like the matching tracksuit sets, and all of the items were pretty good. I have a real Juicy tracksuit, and I did pick up some of the items from the Alex Earl drop, and honestly, like, terry cloth is terry cloth, it's already a cheap item, so the markup is for the name. But I will say, the quality, it's slightly less thick than the real stuff, the material, but it is so cute. It looks exactly like a Juicy tracksuit. The only difference is the rhinestones are a little bit smaller, but then again, I've seen a lot of Juicy stuff where like the logo varies in size, but I know Juicy Couture did a collab with Forever 21 probably a year ago, prior, their first collab, and they had the logo that said Juicy Forever, which made sense. It was a collab, right? But I didn't want to buy any of it because I wanted to look like it was juicy, right? So this one was actually just the Juicy logo. All the stuff was so freaking cute. I picked up more than I care to admit, but it's perfect for the summer. I think the stuff is still on the website too. It didn't even sell out. They restocked. I know it was picked over in the stores. But people went, I'm pretty sure everybody also my age went crazy for it because everybody wanted to be Paris Hilton into the 2000s. She was like the poster child for Juicy Couture. And she has publicly said that she still owns all of her Juicy tracksuits as well. She, from time to time, busts them out, but I think she also has her own Paris Hilton line of tracksuits. She has everything under the sun. Like, she has an empire. Moving on to the Barbie movie. I saw the trailer for the Barbie movie 2 weeks ago. It's coming out. Margot Robbie is Barbie and Ryan Gosling is Ken, and I did not think I needed to see a platinum Ryan Gosling in my lifetime, but I didn't know I needed it. I did. It's amazing. If you have not seen the preview, the trailer, go on the official Instagram page and watch it. It is so cute. I cannot think of another Barbie that would be more fitting than Margot Robbie. She is the quintessential Barbie. And funny I say that because I was digging around and going down a rabbit hole, and I found out that the original role for Barbie, before it was picked up, I think it's with Warner Bros. Before it was picked up by them, I want to say Sony was trying to make a movie, and their first pick for Barbie was a completely different direction than I would have expected. I don't even know what direction they were trying to go in, but they wanted Amy Schumer to be Barbie. And I just think that if you're gonna do a Barbie movie, you're gonna do it the right way, to a T. You know, not make it a comedy, you know, make it Barbie. So I just find that so odd. And I know that Amy Schumer had a interview basically saying the casting company gifted her with a pair of Manolo Blahniks to congratulate her for getting the role, and she immediately knew, like, this is not for me. Do you know, like, who, you know, you picked for this role? Well, it's like, do you know what role that you're trying to fill? So I'm kind of glad that that didn't pan out, and I'm really excited for the Barbie movie. It comes out in July, and you bet I'm gonna go see it. The last pop culture thing I want to touch on, speaking of iconic movies, Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. So Lady Gaga was cast as the new Harley Quinn. First role was Margot Robbie, and then, of course, you know, many people before her, but people are up in arms about this. So I'm curious what you think about Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. I thought Margot Robbie was a great Harley Quinn, and I think Lady Gaga has established herself as an amazing actress. Not only a singer, she acts. She was in, that Gucci show, American Horror Story, and she's a great actress. Like, I think not very many people can cross over well, and she's really mastered it. I have high hopes for it. A Star is Born was phenomenal. Granted, that movie was focused around her singing, but I'm pretty happy for her. Will I see the movie? I'm not really sure. I'm not a huge, like, comic book movie person, but I'll probably see it. Why not? I mean, there's a lot of good stuff coming out lately. I'm definitely seeing Barbie, though. So that about wraps it up for my first episode. We made it through the hour. Thank you so much for tuning in if you've made it this far. I am going to be here every Wednesday And if you would like to follow us on Instagram, our username is A Little Bit Unglamorous. And then all of the visual versions of the episode, they're also going to be uploaded to YouTube. So stick around. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited. Let me know what you think. If you have any good ideas of what you would like me to talk about, you can always shoot me over an email, alittlebitunglamorous@gmail.com. And I will see you guys in my next episode. Bye, guys.